This section of the Neighbour Impact Board of Directors presentation will cover the legal obligations associated with your role on the board. In this section, we are looking at the intersection between your responsibilities on the board and the law. We will discuss your legal exposure and liability as well as confidentiality requirements. We will close with an overview of regulators and the legislation by which we are bound. The law protects board members in most cases from liability. Additionally, Neighbour Impact pays for liability insurance coverage. Under our bylaws, the organization is required to indemnify its directors. Board members who act with integrity will not need to worry about their liability exposure. However, it is possible that you can be sued as personal defendants claiming an injury or financial loss resulting from the organization. The law protects non-profit board members with limited immunity, meaning you cannot be sued for negligence. This protection does not cover gross negligence or willful fraudulent acts. The IRS is also able to hold directors liable for federal law violation should we fail to perform mandatory payroll reporting. Consider obtaining umbrella coverage added to your home or auto insurance for further protection. Maintaining confidentiality is a key part of your responsibilities as well as those of every staff member. Clients applying for our services hand over a large quantity of sensitive information. The agency is legally obligated to maintain the confidentiality of our clients. For example, HIPAA, which has criminal penalties associated with violations. In most cases, client information will not be shared with board and will only be done when absolutely necessary. As a non-profit, political activity is heavily regulated at Neighbour Impact. Political actions, such as engaging with campaigns, political parties, elections, ballot initiatives, or activities that influence the result of an election are prohibited. Actions may include promotion, contributions, or support. While those actions are limited, Neighbour Impact regularly works with policymakers in a nonpartisan and unbiased way. We also join coalitions, review and disseminate research, and provide advice to elected officials. Your legislative contacts must be documented for our auditors. Here are some of the regulatory bodies with which Neighbour Impact interacts. The Oregon Housing Community Services provides funding for our energy, weatherization, and housing stabilization departments. The Department of Early Learning provides resources to our Head Start and Child Care Resources departments. They are also for ensuring licensure for childcare providers in the state. The Housing and Urban Development Department is a part of the federal government that distributes aid to housing agencies for low-income residents. They provide funding to our Housing Stabilization, HomeSource, and Homeless Services departments. The Health and Human Services Department is another part of the federal government that distributes funds for Head Start, Early Head Start, Energy, and Weatherization departments. Here is a list of some of the important pieces of legislation the agency must follow. It is among the board's responsibilities to include ensuring our compliance with these laws. This concludes this section of the Board of Directors orientation covering the legal obligations of board members. Feel free to rewind the video to any part if the presentation went too fast or you were unable to read a particular slide. Thank you for your attention in this presentation. If you have any questions about the information covered, please reach out to the board president, executive director, or the executive specialist.